Welcome to JunctionX Seoul. I'm pleased to announce that Microsoft is participating as one of challenge partners in this JunctionX Seoul. Microsoft would like to focus on encourage participants to develop for collaboration and remote productivity. Now these days, especially in new normal world, and then remote collaboration and remote productivity has been very important. So Microsoft would like to encourage every person on the planet who needs new skills to be successful tomorrow. So then we would like to encourage you to focus towards building digital resiliency with responsible AI for trustworthy innovation. So for a detailed explanation on responsible AI, and then I would like to invite a speaker, Annie Matthew, who is a developer lead in APAC World.
Thank you for having me here. Let me talk to you today about responsible AI as you head into the hackathon. Why responsible AI today? Well, Brad Smith, our Chief Legal Officer at Microsoft, says it really well. The more powerful the tool, the greater the benefit or the damage it can cause. AI is now at that space, and everything we do is escalating in terms of power, compute, storage, etc. Technology innovation is not going to slow down. The work to manage it needs to speed up. Well, 30 years back, companies started to create systems of record, and that helped them to increase their efficiencies, which moved a few decades later into systems of engagement. And this was about knowing how their customers engage with us, how the customer's consumer is buying those products and using those. That created a lot of improvement and AI into it. But cut to now, you can see the amount of data that is available from connected devices, engagements, and systems of intelligence that have evolved is that AI is profuse and infusing every aspect of the business to the extent that businesses are being redefined today. And in that sense, the impact of AI and the businesses are humongous on humans, on us as consumers, and from a personal and a social aspect. So what is driving the need for responsibility at this day and age? It's simple that the advancements in AI are different from other technologies because of two things. One is just the pace of innovation. And the second is a proximity to human intelligence. Now, if you look at how Microsoft's AI innovations have evolved over the years, in 2016, we came out with object recognition human parity, then speech recognition human parity to reading comprehension, machine translation at human parity, speech synthesis, and of course, general language understanding near human parity. What does human parity mean? It means that, let's take speech synthesis, for example. If you listen to a voice from a robot, an automated voice, and a human voice, you would not be able to make out the difference. And that is human parity. And when it comes to that level of proximity to human intelligence, it can be used for good or for not. And it's a responsibility of us as software innovators and more people around policy, government, etc., to make sure that we are responsible in doing this. If you look at today's debate that's going on, even judicial, let's look at today's debate and so much of AI in the conversations today, straight from Obama's deepfakes to meaningful human control, justice and judgments using AI, the Chinese glass, which has AI and recognizes people and their information as you just walk across the door. One of the visions that you see here is if you put a search in in your Bing or Google and type in CEO, you will see a bunch of male white men who are CEOs. What about all the women? So these are inherent biases in the system, and this is impactful. For example, the other day there was a senior woman tech leader who I was talking to, and she was saying that her daughter was interested in computer science, and she said, why don't you go and explore how to go about programming? So the little one goes and explores a little bit and come back and tells mom, I don't think it's for me. And this woman leader was quite surprised and said, why not? And the little girl says, well, I looked up on the website and looks like it's a man's job, because all she's seeing when she's Googling for stuff or Binging for stuff is about men doing software and men being the leaders in tech and so on. So there's a lot of, so this just shows that there's a lot of societal impact that happens if we are not fair and unbiased about using technologies all these different ways. Now, responsible AI is a complex and broad topic. We are all on a journey. Microsoft is very involved and actively participating in global forums to advance the topic of responsible AI. But we recognize that it is definitely a journey that we take together. All the more so because there are many people who need to be a part of it. If you're creating a product, right from the stakeholders who have the business understanding need to understand the responsibilities, data acquisition and understanding of the data, modeling of the data, and of course the deployment and ops. All of this requires every player in that value chain to be aware of and actively look for practicing responsible AI. Now, I'd like to share a little bit of Microsoft's journey so that you may craft your own journey on responsible AI. Well, it started in 2016 with Satya Nadella, our CEO, penning an article about the concepts of responsible AI. That became something very core within Microsoft. We formed the Aether Committee in 2017 and established our AI principles through the book Future Computed. Now, we put out a call for regulation of facial recognition and then published the facial recognition principles also in 2018. We have an Office of Responsible AI formed, and today we are piloting the Responsible AI standard. So I'd like to share a little bit of the standard we have, and I hope that will help you. Microsoft's approach to responsible AI is across three pillars: the principles of responsible AI, the practices of responsible AI, and the tools that are there to use to make it easy for you developers and innovators and decision makers to actually ensure that you are able to practice responsible AI. So if you look quickly at the principles, it's around 6 key things: fairness, and that's about making sure there's no bias; inclusiveness, that's to make sure that your system is not purposefully or unknowingly removing certain sections of the population; transparency, without transparency there is no trust, and without trust AI will never become generic; accountability, if it goes wrong, who's accountable for this? So there needs to be clear accountability; reliability and safety. Think about the autonomous car. You definitely want a reliable and safe one, or in medicine and healthcare, reliability and safety is paramount. Privacy and security, as AI systems become more powerful and data is all across, it's very easy to lose our sense of privacy and hence individual security. So those are principles you should think about when you're developing. And there are practices, and of course for tools, Microsoft has recently launched the FairLearn, which allows you to run your code by it, and it will tell you how fair or unfair your systems are, which are indicative for you to take further action. So these are the principles, practices, and tools. I would encourage you all to have a look at this and create your own practices around responsible AI, especially as we head into a high growth or rather escalated growth of AI and software development around AI. Over to you, Ian. I hope you have a great hackathon in Seoul.
Thanks a lot, Annie, for sharing on responsible AI. So for this problem statement during JunctionX Seoul challenge, and then I would like to encourage first to please understand more on responsible AI concept, which also needs to apply to all of the world. And second is then based on such concept, and then please think about how to build a website or simple mobile applications for collaboration and remote productivity, then be applied to your society and or some business activities that will make the world more connected together and more inclusive place to working together. So, and then I want to recommend two resources. One is more on Microsoft Azure with digital resilience to better understand how to implement your own website or mobile applications. And second kind of resource would be related with more on responsible AI concept. So I think Annie's explanation is very great. But if you would like to more run on responsible AI, and then please visit this site. And then so cheers all, and then I would like to expect very good results very soon. Thank you.